Hey folks, Doug Blake with Body Design University, back again with another weekly study. Wanted to switch gears just a little bit and talk about branch chain amino acid supplements. Now, we did talk about whey protein and the three basic types of whey protein in a previous weekly study. And so I thought I would kind of just switch gears a little bit and give you some information over the next couple of weeks about some particular supplements that not only have been used quite a bit in the past. Branch chain amino acids, of course, have been around for a long time, but also the problems associated with using them, if any, and the benefits. And so branch chain amino acids are significant in our fitness culture. People use, it's a very, very high volume sold item because of the research that is out there. A ton of research just on protein metabolism itself, and then on the benefits of the branch chain amino acids. But I want to just go over real briefly with you. I don't recommend that you use branch chain amino acids, or remember, scope of practice, that you recommend that your clients actually use a pure branch chain amino acid supplement. It's not that it's going to cause any harm. They're not, quote, dangerous in any great to any great extent, not the BCAAs. Perhaps the caffeine that would be in one of the supplements is a problem, but just keep in mind scope of practice. But I just want to go over real quick with you just some guidelines on branch chain amino acids and how you can answer some questions intelligently to your client. Remember, look, of all the things that we do with clients outside of the training is probably answer questions on supplements. What should I be using? Should I be using whey protein? Should I be using vitamins? Whatever the case is. What about this supplement? Is it going to help me burn body fat? So branch chain amino acids falls into the category of the supplements that actually, if you use them, can be beneficial, but under certain circumstances. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. And so here's what I want to do. Understanding branch chain amino acids. It's important to have a good overview just of the little bit of the basic science. We definitely don't want to go so far into the weeds that we get lost, and that is easy to do. Branch chain amino acids, what are they? Well, of the 20 amino acids that make up all of remember, proteins are made up of amino acids. Amino acids are kind of like the bricks of a building, right? All the bricks put together create a single building. That single building would be considered, in biochemical terms, a protein. So proteins are made from amino acids. There are 20 main amino acids in the human body, or that the human body uses to build all of the proteins that we have in our body. So it's all different combinations. Every protein has a very unique, specific, what's known as amino acid profile. And so 20 amino acids, you have 9 of them are what are known as essential amino acids. That means that your body can't synthesize them or make them in the body. The other 11, if your body doesn't have enough of them, synthesize them inside your body, normally in the liver. So the essential amino acids, there's 9 of them, you have to eat in your diet. If you run low on any of the essential amino acids, then you've got to eat it from your diet. The branched chain amino acids are 3 of those essential amino acids. And the other 6, it's not necessary, but just so you understand that the branched chain amino acids, 3 essential amino acids, critical, because they make up almost, depends on the person, the muscle, but it makes up roughly a third, right, of all of the protein in your skeletal muscle. So it's a significant percent inside these proteins that contain all three of these aminos. Valine, leucine, isoleucine generally are biochemically connected to each other, right? So you get the 3 of them. You don't just get valine in your diet. Generally, you will get the 3 together, okay? And so the idea is that in general, those three always come as a package deal, and your body will separate them as needed or use them in unison to do certain things as signaling agents and other regulatory demands that the body has where it needs these amino acids. So they are essential amino acids, right? But remember, there's 6 other essential amino acids. And so don't let that be the reason why you go out and purchase this stuff. Now, they are significant. This is the kind of thing to keep in mind when answering questions, because for those of us that are constantly scouring the research, reading all the time on this information, it's important to know what these 3 amino acids actually do, or at least tend to do, depending on the internal environment, biochemical environment, the endocrine system, what's going on hormonally, in other words, to determine exactly what they do. In other words, if you look on the internet and you just put in, purpose valine, purpose leucine, or purpose branched chain amino acids, you'll get 1 million hits. And you'll open up some and they'll give you 20 different things that the branched chain amino acids do. Well, in vitro, yes, in a laboratory, of course, you can also see what the branched chain amino acids do in laboratory animals. Some of those are easy to correlate with the human metabolism, some not so much. And so we got to be very, very careful. But here's what we do know: irrespective of the person, branched chain amino acids are significant mediators and regulators when it comes to the slowing down of protein breakdown or protein catabolism. So those 3 amino acids in sufficient quantity, right, in your body, metabolically act as anti-catabolic agents in skeletal muscle. So the breakdown of muscle tissue will be slowed so long as these 3 amino acids are present, serum levels in the blood that can then be brought into skeletal muscle itself. So as a signaling agent, okay, just as it can act as a fairly significant anti-catabolic agent. And of course, if you want, go and read as much as you can about it, but go to primary sources, NCBI, for instance, research-based sources. That's where you got to go for the information. Be careful, but it is a significant anti-catabolic. It functions as a source of fuel during exercise. And this is one of the things over the past couple of years that has been found to be pretty significant, something that we really didn't fully appreciate or completely understand. But the branched chain amino acids become sacrificial energy sources depending on the internal environment of the muscle. Now, research over the past couple of years has shown that irrespective of glycogen levels, irrespective of free fatty acid inside the muscle itself, the branched chain amino acids actually do go through a pretty significant level of breakdown to be used as sources of fuel. So this is where athletes now will be using branched chain amino acids right before their workout. They'll even be using BCAAs, pure BCAAs, during their workout, and nothing wrong with that. But again, there's reasons why you would not need to do that. So significant anti-catabolic signaling agents function as a source of fuel during exercise, of course, along with glycogen and sugar. So they do appear, and this is relatively new research within the past, 10 years, specifically past 5 years, appear to have we've known this for a while, but it's the amount of information that we're trying to understand and the significance to obesity and insulin resistance. That's where a lot of my own personal research is being done right now. So appear to have a synergistic relationship with insulin as an anabolic regulator. Remember, insulin is a primary anabolic hormone. Okay, its main function, or as far as we can tell, is to lower blood sugar levels and push them into skeletal muscle, the liver cells, and fat, which is then going to increase either glycogen synthesis, right? Glucose into glycogen, that's an anabolic activity, conversion into free fatty acid, all of those different things that are known to be anabolic activities. So apparently the branched chain amino acids have a synergistic relationship with insulin in a healthy, non-diabetic, non-insulin resistant type of scenario. As soon as we move into issues related to insulin sensitivity and resistance, individuals that have maladaptation in their leptin and ghrelin production, things change. In fact, it's really interesting. It's pretty much we think it's almost the opposite, is that there are problems with branched chain amino acids in those metabolic scenarios. However, it's still kind of up for grabs what the scenario is. So, but in the normal healthy person, apparently you got to have a good amount of branched chain amino acids in your body for metabolic health, and to assist with the normal functioning of insulin as an anabolic regulator. So pretty interesting information. Now, kind of the last thing that is really important to know is that the one amino acid of those three, and this is where the supplement industry tends to kind of fool people, or to not give all the information needed, because we know that leucine in particular is a significant signaling agent. That means it's not just going to be made a part of a protein, right? It just becomes a structural component of protein, but in and of itself acts as a regulator or a mediator for protein synthesis within a muscle. So it's one of the reasons why you don't have enough branched chain amino acids. If you can get leucine some other way through your diet, then that's what you have to do. But if you don't have enough of it, there may be issues related to the signaling of protein synthesis. But remember, this is the thing to keep in mind about leucine. Again, you can take a ton of leucine, but leucine is just like flicking the switch on your lights. Okay, I can flick the switch all I want. That's what leucine does. It's a signaler. But if I don't have enough of all the other components, the other amino acids, and by the way, that's why pure BCAA supplements are inferior for the most part to a very good provider of branched chain amino acids, i.e. whey protein. But if you're flicking the switch and the light's not coming on, then flick the switch as much as you want. It's irrelevant. It's useless. If you don't have any electricity coming in, flick the switch all you want. That's like leucine is like flicking the switch when it comes to protein synthesis. But if you don't have all of the other components, if your diet, your nutrition, your training is not on point, you can take as much leucine as you want. It's not going to have any significant effect. So don't take a leucine supplement, individual amino acid supplementation. That was back in the 70s and the 80s. That went out. That doesn't really make any sense. I know arginine, ornithine, we used to use that all the time, hoping to get growth hormone release, things like that. Well, again, none of this is relevant anyway if your nutrition isn't even on point. So if you ain't getting enough calories and you're not getting enough whole proteins in your diet and carbs and fats and vitamins and minerals, all of this is irrelevant to begin with. So, but that's a brief explanation of the branched chain amino acids. They're found in most protein foods. Pretty much any protein you eat is going to have branched chain amino acids in it. We do know that animal meats, organ meats as well, contain generally the highest levels. Whey protein powders, again, it's not a whole food. It's one of the reasons why if you Google foods high in branched chain amino acids, you're not going to see whey protein on there because it's not a whole food. It's a supplement. So chicken and beef, they all contain adequate amounts of branched chain amino acids, whereas Whey protein itself, whey protein, because it's a dairy product, casein and whey separated. Casein's a pretty decent source of branched chains as well. But whey protein has a pretty high percentage of the branched chain amino acids. Don't worry about the percentages. I mean, I've seen whey protein companies. Now, is there a difference between grass-fed whey and yeah, there probably is. The point is that if you do see, and I've seen some companies that actually speak to, they have higher percentages of branched chain amino acids in their grass-fed whey protein. Why? Because the cow's milk is higher in branched chain. By the way, that's fine because we're talking about whey protein, but branched chain amino acids themselves, pure, this is where you can get them. You can go out and spend them. And by the way, go ahead and take a look at the cost of a pure branched chain amino acid supplement. You're going to probably change your mind as soon as you look at how much it costs to buy one of these. They're very expensive because you have to get you've got to get the BCAAs from something, and it's going to be a food product that's going to be manufactured and processed to get out a small amount of the branched chain amino acids. And so these are going to be fairly expensive products. When should you take them? If you are going to take them, they're generally not necessary to use. They're generally not necessary to use. So when should you take a pure branched chain amino acid supplement? I don't recommend you do it. Even athletes, to be honest with you, unless there's something deficient in the diet and you don't get whey protein in your diet, this is the scenario. But if you're consuming adequate calories, vitamins, minerals, you're getting adequate protein, in other words, grams of protein per pound of lean body mass, if you're getting enough of that, and on top of that, and by the way, that might provide all the BCAAs you need, but on top of that, if you're using a whey protein supplement, you're getting probably significant more than you need. So the idea that you're going to need additional branched chain amino acid supplement pure doesn't make any sense. Why? Because it costs too much. It's relatively inefficient. Why are you taking them? Are you taking it as an energy source? Taking 3 essential amino acids by themselves is an inefficient way to get the results that you want. It doesn't take 3 amino acids to build muscle, just like it doesn't take 1 amino acid, leucine, to build muscle. Leucine is the trigger. It's a mediator, a regulator, a signaler, but it has to have everything else. Look, if a quarterback goes onto the football field and it's just the quarterback against the defense, and he's got the ball, who's he throwing it to? Nothing's going to happen unless he's a really good runner. No, you got to have the rest of the team. Well, with branched chain amino acids or leucine, that's the quarter. Let's say that's the quarter. You need the rest of the team. And the team is not just the other 2 branched chain amino acids. The team is the rest of all of the amino acids necessary to build myosin, actin, right? Titin, all of these other proteins that are in skeletal muscle tissue. It's just not it's a relatively inefficient way to do it. Use whey protein, period. It's a lot cheaper. You get a significant level of branched chain amino acids. And honestly, the research basically says that as soon as you hit a base level, serum and intramuscular levels of branched chain amino acids, taking extra doesn't really do a whole lot. It really doesn't. So here's the only time I ever, and it very seldom happens. You use the pure branched chain amino acids, right, as a supplement. If you are, number one, you're training hard, okay? And here is the thing, which should not happen. This is the point, is that if it is happening for whatever circumstances you're under, then yes. But if you're protein and calorie deficient, if your protein intake is deficient in what it should be, if your calories are deficient, just calories in general, if you're supposed to be getting 2,800 calories a day to maintain body weight, and you're sucking down 1,800, 1,600 calories because you're calorie deficient. You're already having problems. Okay, I get that. If that is the case, and And here's the kicker. You're not using whey protein because look, if you're subcaloric, you're below your protein, your recommended protein intake, you are training hard, you can use whey protein. Remember, branched chain amino acids to whey protein. It's like, what? Okay, if you can't get whey protein, then that's your last ditch effort. Then fine, I get it. Then use it, but honestly, come on. At the end of the day, you just don't need the pure branched chain amino acids. I do know some scenarios where yes, use them. There's some folks who simply cannot use whey protein, and I get that. I mean, there's other mixes of proteins that you can take. You can even plant proteins contain branched chain amino acids. Some of them are lower than others. And again, you can mix and match pea protein, chia seeds, right? Chia, quinoa, all of these different plant kind of seed stuff. They all have protein. The problem is you got to eat a ton of it to get significant levels. All I'm saying is that branched chain amino acids, your best way to get them is generally going to be through whey proteins, generally animal proteins. But if you can't, if you're vegan, again, you see how this works. And in today's climate in the fitness industry, a lot of people go in plant-based protein. I got no issues with that. It doesn't make any sense to me if you're doing it for health and metabolic purposes, but if that's what you want to do, go for it. Just realize that you're simply not going to get enough of the branched chain amino acids. And if you're not going to consume whey and you're completely plant-based and you're not consuming whey, then for sure, then my recommendation is you're going to spend a fair amount of money on your branched chain amino acids, depending on what your overall goal is. So I hope this was helpful this week. Keep in mind, if you do have questions, two things to keep in mind. If you have questions, you put them into the Facebook group itself. Just go ahead and list them and ask them. And we look at them and we use them as weekly study topics, number one. Second thing is every Wednesday, 2 p.m., both Corey and myself do a podcast, and we're simply answering questions, a live question and answer for all of your personal training needs. Any questions on science of exercise, nutrition, the business, anything related to the fitness industry. Wednesdays, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is where you can also reach out to us. The other thing to always keep in mind is talk to your success coach. Yes, they're there to help you out. And if you need any other assistance related to the materials that you're going through, they are your go-to. Reach out to them. They're literally sitting there waiting for you. They're sitting there like this with their phones. They're waiting for you to call them so they can, I don't know if they're doing that, but for sure they're more than happy to help you out. So give them a call. Hope this was helpful this week. Have a great weekend, and we will see you next week. See ya.